Have you ever loved someone so much that you slowly disappeared in the process? You didn't notice it at first. You were just trying to keep him close. You answered every late text, smiled through the silences, softened your voice, hid your needs, and little by little, you started forgetting who you were, all in the name of love. But here's the question that lingers in the dark. If you have to lose yourself to keep him, is he really yours to begin with? Too often, women carry the weight of the relationship on their shoulders. They bend. They sacrifice. They silence their intuition just to avoid being too much, too emotional, too needy, too honest. And yet, he still pulls away, still drifts, still doesn't see all the parts of you that you've given up just to make it work. So tonight, we ask something different. What if love doesn't require your self-abandonment? What if the man who's meant for you is the one who doesn't want you to shrink to fit beside him? This isn't about chasing, proving, or pleasing. This is about becoming the kind of woman who never has to lose herself just to make someone stay. It doesn't happen all at once. You don't wake up one morning and realize you've lost yourself. It happens slowly, subtly, quietly. At first, you just want to make things work. You're patient. You compromise. You forgive. But soon, compromise turns into silence. Patience turns into self-doubt. And forgiveness becomes forgetting who you are. You start to shrink. You worry constantly if he's pulling away. You overthink every text, every pause in conversation. You replay the moments when he seemed distant, wondering what you did wrong. And so, you start adjusting. You smile when you don't feel like smiling. You say, it's okay when it's not. You agree to things that don't sit right with you, just to avoid conflict. You change the way you dress. You stop mentioning the things you love because he never seems to care. You cancel plans with friends to be more available, as if proximity could somehow hold him closer. And somewhere, in that process, your passions get quiet. Your laughter becomes rare. Your confidence begins to fade. All while he still feels free to be exactly who he is. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman I knew. Brilliant, confident, the kind who lit up every room she walked into. She had dreams that stretched wide, a life full of energy, purpose, and color. And then, she fell in love. At first it was beautiful. He made her feel chosen, seen, wanted. But as time passed, his affection became conditional. He pulled away when she spoke too much, when she felt too deeply, when she took up too much space. And so, she dimmed her light to keep him close. She stopped sharing her opinions. She laughed quieter. She cried in secret. She gave and gave, until the mirror stopped reflecting someone she recognized. One day, she told me, I don't know when I became this version of me, but I don't think I like her. That's when she knew. Love, real love, doesn't demand your disappearance. It doesn't thrive on fear or silence or sacrifice without return. And maybe as you're listening now, you feel a piece of yourself in her story. Maybe you've dimmed your own light, just to make someone else comfortable. If that's you, this is not the end of your story. It's the moment you wake up. The moment you come home to yourself. Because the truth is, you were never meant to lose yourself. Here's the truth we don't like to say out loud. You can't make someone stay. Not by loving harder, not by sacrificing more, not by shrinking yourself into something you were never meant to be. You can't keep a man beside you by abandoning the woman you are. Because love, real love, isn't something you grip with tight fists. It's not about convincing someone to choose you every day. It's about showing up, fully, freely, as yourself, and letting them choose you. Not because they have to, but because they want to. That's a love that breathes, that grows, that stays. A man who truly wants to stay isn't looking for a version of you molded to his liking. He's not attracted to perfection, submission, or silence. He's drawn to presence, to substance, to truth. He stays because he feels free around you, because you don't demand his completeness. You already have your own, and that makes your love a choice, not a need. That kind of love, it feels different. It doesn't beg. It doesn't chase. It doesn't fear every pause or silence. Because when love is rooted in freedom, you don't lose yourself trying to hold on. You become more of who you are, and that, in itself, becomes the reason someone stays. Let's talk about the difference between love that needs and love that chooses. Love that needs says, "Don't leave me. I'm not okay without you." It clings. It fears. It's love that's built on survival, not truth. It demands reassurance, constant proof. It says, "I'll become whatever you need me to be. Just don't go." But love that chooses, it's quieter, more solid. It says, "I am whole, and I want to share this wholeness with you." It's not about completion. It's about companionship. Not about filling a void, but about walking beside someone in fullness. When you stop needing someone to stay to feel valuable, you become magnetic in a different way. Your presence becomes peaceful. Your boundaries become sacred. And your energy no longer whispers, "Please don't leave." It says, "I hope you stay, but I'll be okay either way." And maybe right now you're holding on too tightly. Maybe you're afraid that if you stop trying so hard, he'll walk away. But here's the question you need to ask yourself. If the only thing keeping him here is your effort, then is he really here at all? You deserve more than a love that stays out of obligation. You deserve someone who stays because your presence feels like home, because your truth invites him to be more of himself, not less. So here's your quiet permission. You can let go of the exhausting need to keep him. You can rest in your own enoughness, and you can trust that the man meant for you will never require the disappearance of your soul. The truth is, love doesn't need to be a battle. It doesn't need to be a tug of war between holding on and letting go. You don't have to lose yourself to keep him, and you don't have to give up your soul for someone to choose you. But the key to finding balance, the key to loving him without losing yourself, begins with you. Reconnect with yourself, every day. The first key to maintaining this balance is something simple, yet incredibly powerful. Self-anchoring. Every day, take a moment to reconnect with yourself. This doesn't require anything complicated. It just means creating a space where you're allowed to be fully you, where you are the focus, and nothing else matters for those few minutes. It could be a moment of quiet meditation, where you focus on your breath and center your thoughts. Or perhaps it's writing in a journal, letting the words flow, unfiltered, unedited, speaking your truth without fear of judgment. Even if it's just 5 minutes a day, these moments are where you reclaim your strength. It's where you remind yourself of who you are beyond the roles you play, beyond being a partner, a lover, a mother. You are you. And reconnecting to that is a form of self-respect. When you are anchored in yourself, you are no longer seeking approval from anyone else. You become your own source of validation. And when you don't need his attention to feel validated, you can give it freely, without fear of losing yourself. Strength doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. Second key is silent strength. This is the power that doesn't come from arguments, dramatic gestures, or chasing after someone's attention. This is the strength that comes from within, the kind of inner power that doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. It's the strength that remains calm even in the storm, that holds its ground quietly. Think about the stillness of a calm lake. The water may be deep, but it's not rushing to prove its depth. It simply is. When you cultivate silent strength, you stop reacting to every little thing. You stop chasing after his affection, trying to make him see your worth. Instead, you become so grounded in your own sense of value that his behavior no longer defines your self-worth. You hold space for him, but you don't collapse yourself for him. Silent strength is what allows you to stay grounded in love, rather than slipping into desperation. It is the quiet confidence that makes you attractive, because it is rooted in self-love, not neediness. Knowing when to say no with love. The third key is healthy boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. They are not about shutting people out or creating distance. Boundaries are about defining what is acceptable for you in a relationship and lovingly standing by those limits. It's about saying no when something doesn't align with your values. It's about knowing when to step back and protect your emotional space without guilt. It's about making time for yourself without feeling like you're neglecting him. When you set healthy boundaries, you create a space where both of you can thrive as individuals without sacrificing the relationship. Boundaries are a form of self-care, not selfishness. They allow the relationship to grow in a way that respects both partners, without compromising either person's integrity. Taking the first steps. Gentle guidance for self-care. Now that you know these keys, how do you put them into action? How do you make sure you stay grounded, stay true to yourself, and keep the relationship strong? It starts with self-care. Every morning, take a moment to care for your body. Stretch, breathe, hydrate, even take a walk. You can't give your best if you're running on empty. So, start by filling your own cup first. Then, build your emotional strength by practicing gratitude. Write down 3 things you're grateful for every day. Gratitude shifts your mindset from scarcity to abundance. It reminds you that you have enough, you are enough, and you deserve love, respect, and care without having to prove it. When it comes to boundaries, start small. Say no when you need time for yourself. Don't feel guilty about needing space to recharge. Remember, loving yourself is loving him, because only from a place of fullness can you truly give. Keeping a man while keeping yourself doesn't require sacrifice. It doesn't require you to become small. It simply requires you to stand in your power, to show up as the woman you are, whole, free, and enough. When you do that, you create space for love to flow freely, without pressure, without fear. And that love, the kind that thrives on freedom and mutual respect, is the kind. The truth is simple, though it's easy to forget. The man who stays because of who you are, truly, he won't be drawn to a version of you that is full of sacrifice or struggle. He won't stay because you've bent yourself to fit a mold. He won't stay because you've lost yourself in the name of love. No, he will stay because of you. The whole, complete, powerful you. The woman who knows her worth, who is not afraid to stand alone, and yet chooses to share her life with him, freely, without fear. True love isn't a cage. It's a garden where both people can grow without the other stifling them. It's a love that doesn't demand sacrifice, but instead encourages wholeness. As you stand in your power, free, unafraid, and whole, love will come. And love will stay. Not because you need it, but because you are loved.